that's
Polar
right?
Express. Yeah.
He was the redhead.
He just must have made
He
a
was
lot
the
of
little
money.
redheaded guy from Spy Kids. That was
He did that.
Saban.
Oh!
You see part of it.
Okay.
The little redhead kids from Spy
No.
Kids' dick as an adult in this film.
No,
Yeah.
that can't be
Yeah.
right.
Oh my
No
god.
You just
way.
ruined my entire
Yeah,
childhood.
look.
Take it away, Garrett.
Welcome back to the Demented Collective, and as always, I'm Gary.
I'm David, and this is...
Tanya, hi.
She is our guest this week. Our first guest.
Yep.
What did we watch this week? Tanya?
The Green Inferno.
Why did we watch it?
Because we like it.
Well, and you picked it. So,
I picked it. I like horror movies, but I think it has a lot to be discussed.
Yeah, we're going to get into my thoughts on this one.
Now, sounds bad.
We've been hanging out prior to doing this, and I didn't want to give away anything on my thoughts on this movie. I am not a gore movie person.
Yeah, and you tend to get that when it comes to Eli Roth. He's,
I'll watch him. I don't have a problem watching him. It's just, I'm more of a, let my mind do the thinking of what's happening in the shadows and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, okay, we'll get to all that. Green Inferno came out in 2013, directed by Eli Roth. Known for the Hostel movies, Cabin Fever, House of the Clock on the Walls, and recently Thanksgiving. I mean, I think we talked about that one in Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, yes.
He also wrote it with Guillermo Amoto, and Guillermo does a ton of Spanish stuff. So he has a ton under his belt, but it's all in Spanish. I don't know what it means. I don't speak Spanish. Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves and Lorenzo Izzo is also in one of his things. The star, Lorenzo Izzo, as Justine. Now, you were telling me something about...
Oh, yeah. Lorenzo Izzo, shortly, well, depending on when you consider this film being released, but some sources put it as early as 2013. Well, I believe that was more an international film festival type thing. But, yeah, so... Lorenzo Izzo actually married Eli Roth in 2014, so about a year after this film was released during an international film festival, and then unfortunately they broke up, or they got divorced in 2019. Don't know why.
Well, and this explains why she's in his movies in that period of time.
Yeah, makes sense, because I mean the only one I can think of afterwards, because Eli Roth really doesn't have as extensive of a filmography as some of the other ones.
Right. Yeah, he has a handful that we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of stuff I hadn't ever heard of.
Yeah, he's a more particular when it comes to projects.
He's dedicated to horror. He likes horror.
Yeah.
And he's not ashamed of it. That's what I really like about it.
Same. And in fact, fun fact about Eli Roth, did you know, from what I heard, he actually essentially mentored under Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And they both have the same habit of...
They were both in Inglourious Bastards.
Yes.
So that's where they got to know each other.
And that's
probably... And there's an homage to Brad Pitt in this, too.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Got any opinions on Eli Roth?
I really enjoy his movies. I think he's highly underrated. I think that a lot of movies nowadays, where they're remakes and they tend to just keep to that, they don't put their own spin on it. But I feel like Eli Roth, specifically with the Green Inferno, really did make it his own, rather than just...
I get what you're saying.
Following the trend of reboots and remakes and adding nothing of value to it.
Made it more.
This was an homage movie.
Yeah, it was a love letter.
Oh, yeah, to Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, and well, the tradition. I actually got a note on that.
It's kind of an homage to the whole Italian cannibal horror movies of the late 70s into 85-ish.
Oh yeah, and you can definitely see the inspirations from a lot of those films. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It definitely is a nice.
Well, Eli Roth said his favorite horror movie is Cannibal Holocaust.
That explains so much about him.
Okay, let me give you a fun fact about this too. So they hired a real tribe. They used a real tribe in Peru,
Yeah.
And they showed the cannibal holocaust to the tribe.
Yeah, because they had no concept of what a film was.
They didn't know what a film was.
Yeah.
That's how remote they were. And the tribe was laughing because they thought it was a comedy.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know about the comedy part, but yeah.
But it's
that does make sense though, because you come in, they see the dumb American trope or whatever, and they're like, heck yeah.
They're called the Kalanyaku tribe, and they're a peaceful tribe. So maybe they knew tribes who were cannibals or something. And they're like, oh, this is funny. I remember those guys.
I know Bantu.
That's Bob down with the other trio.
That's right.
That idiot is always eating people.
Okay, so we'll move into the people who star in this. Lorenza. I'm going to say Lorenzo a lot tonight.
Yeah,
Not
me
mean
too.
it. It's Lorenza
Yeah.
Izzo as Justine, the main character, the main female character. Knock Knock, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And also The House, Clock on the Wall. You know, it's
Yeah.
Eli Roth movies. And I think he was involved with Once Upon a Time, wasn't he? Eli Roth?
I believe so, because that is a Quentin Tarantino film, and Quentin...
He might not have he might have just had a cameo or something, or...
Yeah, Tarantino does keep a tight clique
He does.
of people, so
That's
I
true.
would not be surprised.
Ariel Levy as Alejandro, and he mainly does Spanish work. So I didn't know any of the names, but he's working.
No, yeah, I believe it.
Kirby Bliss Blanton as Amy. She did Project X and Death Wish, the remake with Bruce Willis.
Which one was Amy?
Okay, that's another issue I have with this movie. We're going to get into it.
Who
All
was
the women
who?
look the same to me.
Yeah.
And then when it's raining, I actually have a note, like, they all look the same. They all got wet hair. They're all white. They all look the same. Okay, nobody stood out. Amy, I couldn't tell you who the name is.
Amy, okay, she was the blonde lady that later on with the redhead.
Okay. There's a couple blondes.
I mean, I'll point it out.
One of them I call Blondie in my notes.
Okay, it's probably the one I think of. I will. I'll point it out so we're not like getting spoilers is always ahead,
sure.
and also don't forget to like and subscribe because we keep forgetting to say that.
Yep. And since I'm going to edit this, I tried doing so on the Return of the Living Dead. I tried doing the little ding ding like animation thing that people do, and I was able to make it, but it's not showing up when I render the video.
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep working on it.
Okay, and I know I keep pointing in areas, but if those actually even show up in it, if they don't even show up on screen, oh well. But that's just because.
Daryl Sabara as Lars. Who was Lars? Was that the guy who was paying to get them out of there?
I want to say that was like.
Okay. He was in the Spy Kids franchise. So he made bank. He was in like he did the video games, he did the movies. He was in all 4 movies or whatever it was.
Well, has he been seen in anything since this?
Oh no, Daryl Sabara. That's
Polar
who, right?
Express. Yeah.
He was the redhead.
He just must have made
He
a
was
lot
the
of
little
money.
redheaded guy from Spy Kids. That was
He did
Daryl
that.
Sabara.
Oh!
You see part of it. The little redhead kids from Spy
No.
Kids' dick as an adult in this film.
No,
Yeah.
that can't be
Yeah.
right.
Oh my
No
god.
You just
way.
ruined my entire
Yeah,
childhood.
look, it took a moment to click because, short, but he had the curly red hair,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
all of a sudden, like, holy crap! Oh my gosh!
Wow, that's gross. Okay.
You're gonna see him getting eaten by cannibals.
That's true.
As a kid, like, did you ever think,
You also,
hey,
you also see him his dick.
yeah. So if you ever fangirled, I mean,
Holy crap! Oh my gosh!
Okay. Magda Apanowitz as Samantha. And she did a lot of Canadian sci-fi. Like Sci-Fi Channel TV shows.
oh,
Continuum, Caprica, Traveler, Supernatural.
She,
Not necessarily, but it was
I
filmed in
believe,
Canada.
she was the tattooed lady.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, actually, I vaguely recall her from these shows because I watched Continuum, I watched Travelers, I watched Supernatural.
Yeah.
iZombie also, but whatever. Sky Ferreira as Casey, her friend in New York. Her
Oh,
roommate.
the roommate. Yes.
She was in Lords of Chaos. Yeah. Baby Driver.
Lords of Chaos. That was the one like true Norwegian black metal, right?
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
wasn't she the girlfriend?
I believe so. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I think.
In Lords of Chaos?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
She was also a musician, a singer.
Yeah, one of her songs, an original song, is featured in the credits at the end of this.
Wow.
And this is one of the few cannibal horror films, and this is one reason I'll give it a decent score tonight. One of the few cannibal horror films that do not feature any depiction of violence against animals. You can chop up humans all day long, but you hurt a dog or something, I'm going to get pissed.
Well, yeah, that is...
So there was in the original...
In Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they killed real animals.
They actually got fined for it, didn't they?
Yeah, so fun fact for those that don't know, Cannibal Holocaust, the director, it was Diodato, I believe, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rogerio Diodato got pulled into court for murder because part of the contract for the main cast was after this film was released, they would disappear for a while to sell the
yeah, that's
footage.
right.
And so, only reason he got out of murder was because he, he called them up. They showed up, and he's like,
He had to present them in court.
yeah. And so then they reenacted the scene or showed the special effects how they pulled off with the spike through the girl's tuchus mouth. So yeah. So they got the murder charges dropped, but he did get fined, I want to say heavily, for the cruelty to animals.
Wasn't it like... It was either 2,500 or 25,000, and that's a huge difference, but I don't quite remember.
It was a pretty penny. I remember that.
In that time, in the late 70s, early 80s, the Italian filmmakers had no issue with hurting animals.
No.
Yeah, I mean, Friday the 13th. That's a real snake they chopped the head off of.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And now, because obviously rights and everything, they have since fixed that. But even Diodato came forward and said if he had to do Cannibal Holocaust all over again, he would not have done the scenes of animal cruelty.
Yeah, and I mean, watching those scenes, you just can't help but to look away because it is pretty brutal, and going into it knowing that it's real, it's just yikes.
Yeah, watch the uncensored one, and it's disheartening. If I ever watch it again, I mean, I own it and I will definitely watch it. But if
It's one of those you got to see it once and then never watch it again.
I mean, I'll watch it
There's
again,
a list
but
of
the
those.
cruelty-free version.
Yeah,
moving
because
forward.
don't they have on the DVD? They have the version without the cruelty in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's still at the scene. It's still there. It still happened, but they just edit out those scenes involving the animals, which again, I would watch that one moving forward ever again.
Okay. Let's see. How long have we been going? Want to take our first break real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. Break.
And we're back. Let's dive into this movie. So, yeah, I saw that Blumhouse logo. Did you see that?
Yes.
The BH tilt. Mm-hmm. It's like their side. They were doing it back then.
Yeah, when they had it was like their sub, not their main company, but kind of like an offshoot of Blumhouse. It was still
kind of how Fox has like Fox Searchlight and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a number of companies that have those types of. But I can't think of any right now. I think Blumhouse's main one that they did, that they're no longer doing, was the same as they were doing for the Into the Dark series on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this Green Inferno like kind of the kickstart of Blumhouse's career that like really set it off and apart from the others?
That's a good question. I know it's been around for a minute, but they actually have older films than this where it was, believe it or not, it wasn't horror, if I remember when I was looking into it. Yeah.
Blumhouse, and it wasn't horror?
Yeah, it was, but they really started getting into their own when it came to...
Blumhouse's model began with the original Paranormal Activity.
Okay, so it took it from like a D grade to like, okay, now
we made a ton of money on Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
In fact, this is their latest one. Here's the reason I got it for $250. It's terrible.
Oh, I haven't watched it, but I own all the Paranormal Activity movies, but that's just because I'm a sucker for Blumhouse.
Okay, have you seen the Japanese Paranormal Activity?
Oh, Tokyo Night?
Yeah.
No, I've been on the hunt for it for ages.
It's really good, yeah.
Okay, I own almost all of that.
I can show you where to get it.
Okay.
Wink. Okay, back to the movie So we got the Blumhouse logo. I just found that interesting that Blumhouse was involved with this. And then it opens with, you see a couple natives, but then you get it's not a bulldozer, it's a bucket from a crane or something like that. And they're tearing up the Amazon. Then we get the credits, the flyover of the Amazon, and then protesters. That's just what I like in a movie.
What do we want?
Protesters.
Yes.
It's a good start. It's a hook.
I mean, if they're all gonna die, then let's go.
Spoiler. We support the right to protest, I guess.
I have a note. I have a feeling I'm gonna like what happens to them. Justine and Casey, they leave Zabars, however they pronounce it.
Yeah.
It's on
I
Broadway
think
in
it's
West 80th in New York City. It's a real place. Apparently it's trendy or something, or it was at the time.
Or Zabar? I don't know, because Casey does say...
She does say it. I thought I heard an S. And then they're in class, and the teacher is talking about female circumcision.
Which, if you don't know what that is, just watch Antichrist and then, get upset that I recommended Antichrist to you.
Right. Yeah, oh, we touched on that.
Or just Google it and learn the facts.
That's true. It's
And then get upset that we told you to go, recommended you go.
They tell you what it is in the movie, so...
They do. You do get a whole lesson about it in the movie.
Yeah.
What's the clitoris?
What? That's the question for your fiance. I don't know.
It's just the stereotype fun of men don't know what a clitoris is.
But the teacher, foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about ants. Yeah, we'll get to the ants later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's during the class when Justine lets it slip. Is like, my dad's a lawyer for the UN. Couldn't he do something? And and then
they need that for later.
Yeah.
They do.
And that's when, what's that character's name again?
Which one?
Justine.
No,
Justine that invites Justine to join their cause.
Jonah.
Jonah. Yeah. Yeah, Jonah. That sounds about right.
I think
Joseph.
that kind
it's
of
Jonah or Joseph.
Right there where she says, well, my dad is so and so, couldn't he do something, is also fast tracked to like the moral of the entire story. But I guess we could talk about that later too.
Well, we'll be at the end when we get to the end.
Really?
The very end, when she's talking to the people at the table and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. Don't think, act, Garrett.
Don't think, act. Yes.
They're so annoying. Oh my gosh.
Oh yes, that
Alejandro.
Yeah.
Don't
think,
act.
No, that wasn't Alejandro.
He plays a really good pompous jerk.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and then he goes
type.
way off the rails.
Yeah.
So she goes to the activist.
Jonah.
meeting.
Yep, it was Jonah. That's
the guy.
Don't think, act. And then they both make fun of him.
So they won their protest.
Thinking about acting.
That they were protesting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They said, let's do something big. Let's save a tribe in the Amazon.
Yeah.
Where do what? Oh, right. They have the backers. I was going to say, where do these kids in college get money to go to Peru or wherever they go?
Well, if your parent is on the board of the UN.
He's a lawyer for the UN.
Yeah,
but
a lawyer, then you're making a lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's sitting pretty. I was just thinking like Alejandro.
The Alejandro, the other ones, they're all like, yeah, but I think there's a reason behind that.
There's a money backer on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So wait, how do they go from that protest to...
Yeah, they go from...
Let's go to this rainforest.
The original protest was to get the janitor health insurance at the school. Yeah. And then they jumped to saving an Amazonian rainforest tribe? What?
Yeah, that's
a huge leap.
Yeah, that is.
I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm out.
I just built this car out of Legos. Now I'm going to build a real car out of real car parts.
Yeah.
Right. What?
Well, I just rebuilt the carburetor on my car. Let's make a rocket ship.
I think that just kind of goes to show the ego and the pretentiousness of some of the characters already. And it kind of like, yeah, it helps them form your opinion about that person.
Oh, yeah. They don't get to the tribe until 45 minutes in.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of building of the character building.
Yes.
I literally have it on here. Alejandro's an a-hole.
Because I have here, okay, so Alejandro kicks Justine out of the meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Only
oh,
a
wow.
freshman would say, and that's literally when I'm like, Alejandro's an a-hole.
I got, oh, wow, he's a pompous protester? No way. You know, all sarcastic. Because, yeah. So, and also I hope Alejandro gets knocked off.
I think we all hoped so at that point.
I knew it before. I'd never seen this when I watched it. I watched it yesterday. I'd never even heard of this movie.
Really?
Surprisingly, yeah, maybe I'd seen it in passing, but it never clicked. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's Eli Roth. But I never gave it a shot until yesterday. All right. We'll get there. Okay, I get it. They're in New York. They're eating bagels. They're eating pizza. They're hitting all these places. Like, okay, it's New York. That's great. And then they're in Peru.
Yeah.
And they did, hop on a small plane, meet the other people, and there's a lot of them. And they all look the same. They're all white blonde women, it seems.
Racist. It was a redhead.
And
I do
there's
like-
2 redheads. So you can just say, because there's Daniel, and there's Spy Kids guy.
Then there's 3 redheads because I'm talking about the lady.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I do like the idea that they're kind of ego boosted to the point where they're like, yeah, we're gonna go save them, but then they're thrown in and you can kind of start seeing the rising tension and like them questioning, okay, am I actually wanting to do this anymore?
That's a huge deal to go
Yeah.
Because all of a
fight for a
sudden it's-
janitor. Yeah, with an armed militia. Oh yeah, you might get shot.
Yeah, where some people are like, shouldn't we get guns? Our phones are our guns. Okay, Alejandro, you pull out your phone. I'll pull out my 45. Let's see who, wins.
And that's just a depiction of how our society is, because nobody offers help anymore. They film and they think it's helping, but 90% of the time it doesn't help.
Right, when you watch
Sometimes
when
it
you
does.
watch those TikToks or shorts or whatever, and it's like, why is this guy just filming and not helping that person?
Yeah,
Yeah.
call the police. Call the police. You literally have your phone out right now.
You don't get views if you call the police.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You don't need the views for it's.
But that's the whole idea of the story is
Yeah,
it's for views.
right.
Yeah, it's
and because they have to stream it, so the world will see what's happening.
Yeah,
Sort of. Yeah.
For what was the term that Justine used for a
Well, I know the virtue signaling, but I
It's a-
don't think that that's the term she used for
It's a
it.
PR stunt.
for publicity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that comes later. She's in now. Like, oh, we're actually doing this to help the tribe. She doesn't know what the actual purpose is.
Yeah, and they get on the boats and then they go out.
Well, but don't forget the little scooters. Now here's our homage to Brad Pitt. His little throwout. One of the scooters had the name Brad Pitt on the back of it.
I didn't see that. That's
yeah,
cool.
they were all named. All the scooters. One was Madonna. One was Brad Pitt. One was Iron Maiden, I think. And one was like another metal band, but I can't remember. It's from the 80s.
Pussifer. Just wanted to say Pussifer.
Yeah, then they get on their little boats. I just wanted to point out the Brad Pitt connection there.
So get on their boats and they're going down to their side. Justine and what was his name again? Like his real name, Darby.
Who?
Spy Kids dude.
Oh,
What was,
his first name in real life?
Daryl. Daryl
Darby.
Sabara.
Daryl Sabara. Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl is also needs to use the bathroom, so they pull out a machete for that. They pull out a machete, and they're like, "Snake, what's this for? Snakes!" And Daryl, because I can't remember his name in the film, but and I'm just he's all like, "Oh, I can hold it. It's 30 miles to camp. You might as well go." And he's like, So Justine, huevos on this chick, grabs the machete and just books it.
She had to go.
Yeah, hey, I get it. I would have done the same thing. So at this point, Daryl goes like, okay, got another machete. They hand him a freaking gun, and he's like, so he goes, and then the huevos on this dude, he sees Justine, and he's standing there getting ready to pee, literally right next to her, all freaking out. And she's like, "This is the girls' tree. Go find your own." So that's when you go. And he turns around and he goes and you see the upper portion of Spy Kids dude's junk. The little dude from Spy Kids to now, like, okay, yeah, I never thought because I grew up watching the Spy Kids films, never thought I'd see that much as this tarantula is crawling towards his schmeckle. Yeah,
It was a male tarantula, he points out.
It was a male tarantula going towards his schmeckle, and then it pans away as Justine comes back, and all of a sudden, pop, pop, pop. And they're like,
shooting at a spider.
Actual quote was, tarantula almost bit off my dick.
Well, and I think that's kind of a commentary on the idea of, like, these kids from New York being thrown into the Amazon. Like, they were not equipped emotionally, physically, mentally, none of that. They thought they were just going to film something and change something, and now they're starting to realize, oh, this is real.
Yeah, because...
So have you guys ever done it?
What?
Gone down and worked in the rainforest?
Oh, no.
I have.
Oh, how was it?
It's a shock to your system. Because, you do walk around with a machete. And our lead guy had a gun because we'd be kidnapped. So, yeah.
What if you got kidnapped by your lead guy? Then what would happen?
Then your schmeckle will be getting fed to a tarantula.
He had. That's why he carried a gun from that point. They had been tied and left in the back of their van while everything was stolen from them. No, that was a wild week. I'll tell you what.
Oh.
Moral of the story.
Yeah, I was there for a week.
Don't go out and help people.
This wasn't in the Amazon though. It was in Central America.
Close enough.
Honduras, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were out.
You hear a lot of horror stories.
Isn't one of the Far Cry games based out in Honduras?
I don't know. I saw a dead body in the streets. People were going through his pockets. It was wild. It was a wild time.
That does.
Anywho, let's get back to a more positive movie. So they did the spider thing with the guy, and Alejandro. Okay, I'm gonna put it right. Alejandro's on this little boat, and he's standing there, and he's got the kind of thing, and his leg is up on the front of the bow, and he's doing this. He looks like such an ass. I'm putting the picture right here.
He is a smug a-hole.
And
he plays it very well.
Like, I laughed really hard at what he was doing there.
Mm-hmm.
It just busted me up. That was right before the bathroom stop. And they land and gear up. And then this is when things start getting interesting.
Oh yeah, they get out on the beach and they start changing into their clothes. They get into uniforms that, as it turns out, are the same uniforms the construction workers or whatever are wearing, because they're going to have to sneak onto the property, and because there's an armed militia. Yeah. So, and they leave their bags, their passports, everything except for a bag and the stuff that they're wearing and some masks,
and the chains and that's pretty much it.
And just casually wait for the crew to go on lunch break or whatever to sneak on the property.
Mm-hmm. And then Justine can't get her lock to work
because
Kara, the jealous girlfriend.
No, I got this.
Yeah, she gave her the lock, but it sounds like it kind of makes it Kara and Alejandro did this on purpose. Mm-hmm. This was an on purpose thing. Mm-hmm. So the militia comes over, and because the protesters are chained, they're yelling and filming and doing whatever.
And of course, the only protester they can get away that's not in chains,
Justine. They have her down in the execution position with a gun to her head. Yeah,
threatening for to shoot her unless all the people get off their things. And then that's when Alejandro says that they're threatening to shoot a UN member's daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
fuck you,
the guy with the gun. So the phone's on the guy with the gun, and the guy with the gun gets a phone call.
And did you notice Kara was constantly panning to Justine with her phone?
Yes. Well, yeah. She was it was all for the purpose of getting views.
Yeah.
The United Nations
PR
that sort of thing. Yeah. I had a question here, and I can't remember what it was. Oh well, we're moving on. I don't want to just sit here in silence.
No, just sit in silence.
No. Did you have captions? Actually, this is my question.
Oh.
Did you have captions for the Spanish speaking?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either.
No,
I was curious what they were saying.
Yeah, because they didn't have captions for the Spanish speaking That's the name.
That's your DVD right there.
I know, but they didn't have it. The options that well, actually, I'll have to go through the options again. But no, they didn't have it. Not for the Spanish speaking, and not for the tribe. And well, Peru, is that Spanish?
Peruvian, which is almost like Spanish, but it's a different like dialect.
Oh.
Yeah, I know Portuguese is mentioned a lot, so maybe there's a mix of Spanish and Portuguese. Because I know a lot of those, like, quote-unquote lost tribes kind of thing that just have nothing to do with the society have their own kind of languages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Maya is still spoken in Mexico.
Oh, that makes sense.
In a lot of the way back tribes and that sort of thing. And there's some folks in the cities who know it, but you can learn it on those language learning apps.
Along with Klingon.
Right. So.
Yeah. Well, if you guys know, feel free to comment, get involved.
So okay, they get away because she, being the daughter of a United Nations guy, saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
They get on the plane. Everyone's celebrating, and she's just sitting there like.
She is pissed. Well, I don't blame her. I've never had a gun pointed at my head. But
is this where they have the conversation, her and Alejandro, about this was a PR stunt? It was on purpose, that sort of thing?
Alejandro made the comment of like, you should celebrate, you earned it. She made some comment along the lines of like, you used me. You begged me to come along, so I created a role for you, essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when it kind of clicked with me, like he created this, it just fell into his hands, the perfect patsy. So yeah,
because Jonah did say Alejandro asked him to invite her to the meeting, earlier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but Jonah was in love with her or whatever. He was trying to get with her.
Yeah, Jonah was a sweet boy.
It's like they were trying to set up romance stuff. That was unnecessary. It's just kind of to fill time because once we get to this tribe, all that's out the window.
Oh yeah.
There's no mention of romance.
I'm sorry, but I ain't gonna try to hook up when that shit hits the fan.
Or was it set up in a way that she felt like led on, or that she felt romantically connected, so she would go and do this with this random guy that she just...
Well, they mentioned that he's charismatic, Alejandro, and I guess he was an attractive person to her.
Didn't her roommate even say those are the kind of guys you got to look out for? The Ted Bundys or something along those lines?
I mean,
yeah,
that makes sense.
And she was totally right.
Cult leaders are charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Charlie Manson. Mr.
He was weird.
Flavor Aid person.
I think they were all weird.
Jonestown.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was stabby weird.
Yeah.
But he never actually did any stabby. So
he didn't. He never killed anyone.
Yeah.
He instructed everyone else to do it.
Which makes him a pussy.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
We do not encourage the stabbing of people.
Man up, Charles. What are you doing?
Yeah. On that note, let's take our second break.
I'm down for anything.
Apparently,
because I saw Green Inferno.
You're welcome.
And we're back.
And we're back. Okay, plane crashes. Go right into it. Plane crashes.
What do we rate this plane crash and movie plane crashes, though?
Okay, what's the top notch plane crash? What am I comparing to?
Like, are we doing movie and TV?
Sure.
Because if we do TV, I think Lost Plane Crash is probably the most iconic.
That's where I went.
Yeah. What's the lowest tier plane crash?
Wasn't there a plane crash in one of the Jurassic Parks?
Yes.
I think that would have to be my number one.
Okay. Yeah, the kid.
Because it's a scary idea of, like, not only is it a plane crash, or, the Gray as well. That one was a really good plane crash.
Okay. I don't remember it. I did see it. I just don't remember it.
Well,
Liam
yeah.
Neeson. Yeah.
And it's in the snow. Yes, it is Liam Neeson. So, like, you gotta up your plane crash game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give this from 1 to 10. I'd give it a 6 because it's enough to be like, small plane crashes. Like, dude, after this, I definitely wouldn't.
It's not a Cessna, but it's a puddle jumper.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. And I do have in there. I literally put LOL plane puke.
Oh, yeah, I have that too. It's when he's upside down and.
That's probably why I went down to a 6 because I
thought that was hilarious.
I mean, exactly. Like, it took the scare away from it, and also.
That's maybe why it's like they added comedic relief to it, and I think it's not as gnarly simply because they needed the characters alive to get killed later
And
on.
Yeah,
only
but some do get knocked off right here. The tail is ripped off, and you see two people
It takes
fall
out
out the
about
back.
True.
half the crew, half the protesters, I want to say. Maybe a
But
third.
none of the essential characters, like
Right,
other
you're right.
things, would. Like
These were extra bodies, so they could do that.
NPCs.
Yeah,
had
NPCs.
the body count, so to
They were
speak.
there for the body, and I have the official body count for this movie. We'll hit that at the end. It's actually way higher than you think it'd be.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I thought
So,
you guessed
and-
that.
The pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Tree limb to the dome.
Oh yeah.
Gnarly, but
Awesome.
I mean, but it's been used so much that, like, you know, crashing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Through the dome.
The
So,
other that didn't. The other pilot died, I assume.
I think there was only the one pilot because of how small the plane was.
It was a small plane.
It was Alejandro sitting in the front with him, or Lars.
Lars was.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how the pilot gets knocked off. He gets his head knocked off.
Headshot.
Yeah, it's totally on. And okay, so they're on the ground. Who's the one? And this one guy's looking for like a girl or something. He's saying her name. You just walk her, dink, because the prop of the
Oh
helicopter.
yeah, he gets up and yeah, I had that propeller kill. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that's more comedic relief or just gore for the sake of gore?
Well,
because it's kind of funny, but at
It
the
is.
same time,
It
it's
is.
like,
But I don't think it was gore for the sake of gore. I think it was this guy's in shock. He's looking for his girlfriend or whoever he's looking for, and didn't even notice the prop spinning.
So 50% comedy, 50% like real, because I mean like
They bring up. I feel like they bring up shock with someone else. Someone else says, "Oh, she's in shock" or something like that. Like right after that.
probably.
some stuff like that, and then there's that scene that they're in the cage that we discussed before this, where he talks about calming down.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yes. Well, we'll get to that. And then okay. So the plane I had a question here. The plane blows up, and you hear a girl scream, and a seat and a body land behind the guy. Did you see that?
Yeah, like
What was that? Did she just get blown out of the plane?
I think it was from because it got blown off because the tail end, because she was still attached to the seat and everything, ends up like because
She would have landed way before they crashed, though. If
yeah,
it was one of those people, and the two in the back that got sucked out.
unless she got caught in a tree and then fell out of the tree.
That's true.
But again, horror movie logic or Hollywood logic.
Right, I wasn't sure if the explosion blew her out or something.
It might have like an ejector seat, right? Yeah, I think that's plausible, maybe
Okay.
for at least Hollywood.
Yeah, and yeah, it's Hollywoodized. Yeah. So okay, Kara. I love her kill here, her death.
She deserved it.
Right through the neck, like they're just having a conversation or something. Everything's normal.
Oh
Just
yeah,
arrow
she
through the neck.
sees someone and she's calling out for help, and then
Oh yeah, she's calling to the tribe member that she sees for help.
Yeah.
In the neck.
yeah.
And then, but what cracked me up is like Alejandro was like, "You're gonna be okay." Boom, arrow to the dome.
Headshot. Yeah, right. I'm like,
That was awesome.
She deserved it.
And then everyone starts getting poison darted.
Yeah.
Knockout
Just
darts.
left and right. Just,
And they get taken to the village. And now we're finally at the village.
they come to shortly before the village.
Yeah, they're getting carried.
Yeah. On the boats.
And they're seeing stuff they don't want to be seeing, like bodies on spikes. And
That's when they start freaking out, and they're getting paraded through the village.
a lot of, and
essentially.
everyone's yelling. All the villagers are yelling and talking and whatever.
Like, iconic scene right here. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Which honestly
doing
is, I think probably one of the best.
I think that picture is from the movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
And that's probably why, the poster, was the common poster and everything for it too. What made that so good is just because that scene right there kind of shows the fear of the just what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to us?
So I was pausing the movie periodically through the when I was watching it. Because I was playing video games on the side. So I would pause it when I needed to pause it. But
Yeah.
I kept pausing it, and you'd see like a tribe member smiling in the background, like they're because they just hired a tribe in the Amazon,
Just
and they're just having fun. Like, all right, and you can tell they're extras, and they're just
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Which,
I thought that was fun.
Yeah, it was. And also, it sells to the authenticity of it because it's like the actual tribe and everything. And it's cool. I dig it.
So the chief comes out and everyone quiets down. And I was like, this guy looks like Jack Sparrow.
Oh, you mean...
little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't a woman.
Grandma,
I'll put a picture.
The grandma, yeah.
Grandma Jack Sparrow Simpson.
Grandma Sparrow.
And then she talks and I realized, oh, it's a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
With
the
her
one eye.
good eye.
Yeah. And they get thrown into the pig pen cage. Except for Jonah.
Poor Jonah.
Why doesn't Jonah get thrown in?
I don't know, and it seems like they're doing something nice to him. They feed him that, or they give him this little drink, and he drinks it, and he's just like, "Oh, thank you." And they let him lay down on this rock, and he's all dazed, and then they hold him down, and then Grandma Sparrow Simpson.
Was it her?
Yeah, with her little
her
claw
claw
thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Scoops out one eyeball.
Yep.
Gobbles it down, scoops out the other eye, gobbles it, and they're all woo! And then the yellow-faced black demon tribe dude.
It's like the executioner or something.
I think he's like their head, like their chieftain,
guy.
like their warrior, like
Yeah.
the head warrior, the head honcho. And
He
then-
looks different from everybody else. He's painted different.
Yeah, which, I mean, honestly, yeah, he was. I mean, even some of the posters showed just his face, the kind of the over-the-shoulder look, and intimidating. I would love to learn more about this dude. But yeah, he...
And he's, when we were talking about the subtitles, he says something to Justine at the end. And there's no subtitles, so I didn't know what he said. Like, what did he say? It looked like it was something...
important.
Yeah, important. He specifically tells her.
Yeah.
But we can get to that. But
Yeah.
You just reminded me of it. I wanted to point it out.
Speaking of the eyeball scene, though, that's like kind of... At the time, it was such a huge deal. And I don't understand how people didn't talk about it because, like, you did not see that a lot, especially in movie theaters at the time. Yeah, like, well, even that
The
level
Saw
of
movies.
gore.
Well, I mean, to that level where they're scooping the eye out
Like,
and
the
everything,
detail and everything, it
Yeah.
looked realistic.
They cut his tongue out.
That's where I put the horror sets in because the people in the cage, they're freaking out. Jonah is screaming. I
He's
mean,
alive during all this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like manly screams. No, he's screaming like a little girl. Oh, okay, that's insensitive. Like a little bitch.
Right.
But in all fairness,
That's more sensitive.
Like a person being murdered,
Right.
guys.
yeah, like a guy literally getting his eyeball ripped out. And you know what, dude? Someone ripped my eyeball out, and if I was, held down, yeah, I probably would make the exact same noises.
I just grunt the guy. I'm like, yeah, finish it.
You want the other one?
Don't give them the satisfaction, right?
Big
Yeah,
fucker.
that's right. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, and then, head honcho hacks his limbs off one at a time. And at this scene, when he's all like, he's no longer screaming after they like take his eyes and his tongue, and he's still just shaking in that. My fiance actually asks like, why is he still shaking like that? And I'm like, probably because the body's going into shock.
Spasms.
Yeah, death throes.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut his arms off.
Mm-hmm.
They cut his legs off in different places. So like they cut him at the knees or something, and then they cut his waist to get everything off down there. And then they chop his head off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I just think it's a shock because, I kind of grew up in a time where that would have been so unheard of, and that was like my first really gore type horror. I mean, I've seen slashers, but that was like
For the mid 2010s?
over the top.
So you
yeah,
have
2010s.
you seen Cannibal Holocaust?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that was 81, but
Yeah.
I guess that wouldn't have been.
Well, I mean, in theaters
You're
too,
not-
because
Oh,
a
I got
lot
you.
of stuff does not get released like that. So I was thinking, okay, if it's in the theater, it can't be that bad, right?
I mean,
But then they show that scene, and I'm like,
This,
we're in for it.
when I was telling you about Singapore, this is the scene they had to cut to get it to be able to play in theaters in Singapore.
Makes sense because, I agree. It was kind of, especially, again, it came out, I had 2013, 2015, and 2016, depending on region and area, blah, blah, blah. But it was, outside of Saw, this one was. It was a little bit more boundary pushing than some of the other films. If you weren't going in expecting that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I went in not expecting it too, but it was like a shock.
And I kind of feel that they're not doing these movies because people don't want to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, they're not doing the cannibal movies anymore. It's okay, that's old
Even the Saw movies have toned down nowadays. Like,
well, they went through you had the Hostel movies, you had the Saw movies.
America's not as interested in the gore anymore.
I guess.
Yeah, America seems to have gone through a gore
movies,
phase.
that's their whole, that's a genre.
Mm-hmm.
The specific
The
gore.
Gornos.
What'd you call it?
Gornos.
I like it. Someone's phone is singing. But yeah, I don't know. I've never been into gore. If it's there for a purpose and to move the story or whatever, then okay, I get it.
I mean, like this.
But if it's gore for the sake of gore, whatever.
I get that.
I think this scene was pivotal.
At least in new movies.
Yeah.
I love 80s gore. The practical.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I love that.
And that's one thing I loved about this scene is it was more practical special effects.
I did notice that.
And again, huge fan of that. Like, love it.
See, and I don't like the gore either, but I like this movie specifically because if you watched Cannibal Holocaust and those ones, complete gore. It was like a snuff film. But then you go to this one, there's a story. There's a reason it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
They actually make the gore purposeful. And in other movies, they just didn't.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Snuff? It's from the 70s.
I don't think I have.
Oh, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too because at this point, it's even one of the people in the cage is like, "Why are they doing this to us?" And Alejandro says, "They think we're the enemy."
Yeah, because they got caught wearing the suits.
Yeah.
Of the construction guys.
Oh yeah, they did.
And again, it's like, I mean, it also fits when you can't factor in like Maori warriors would cannibalize people because they thought it would, give them more power or something like that. Oh no, I'm not a Maori warrior for a reason, because
Because you weren't born.
Yeah, because I'm not from New Zealand.
If I've learned anything from Professor Farnsworth, is that if you kill someone, you eat their heart to gain their courage, their rich, tasty courage. That was a Futurama reference.
I can taste the courage.
So the villagers start prepping for dinner, and they start chowing down.
I mean, they're cooking, they're seasoning, they're turning. I mean, this is like third world Hannibal Lecter level stuff. Not as fancy, but there's definitely prepping them.
And so cannibal tribes. I've always wondered about cannibal. Oh right, wrong mouse. I've always wondered about cannibal tribes because there is a disease you can get from eating human beings.
Prion?
Brain prions or something. And there was actually a village that...
Kuru is a very rare disease. But yes, it does have to do with the prions found in contaminated human brain tissue.
Yeah, because you heard about the village that danced themselves to death, right? There's a theory that
French, right?
I think so. They danced for days and days, and they just kept dropping. They did not stop, and there's a theory that it was from the prions or something.
Interesting. I hadn't heard about that. I know there is a movie.
The more you know.
There's a cannibal movie. It's a family it's a dad and his two daughters or something like that. We are what we are.
Yes.
And they end up getting that disease
because
they're cannibals.
Yeah, I think that one was. That was the same year, or a year later. They did a remake of it, but it was done by the same director. I want to say.
I don't know which version I watched.
Because they are, and I want to say they even did a sequel to We Are What We Are.
I wouldn't be surprised. I enjoyed it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's on my list.
I wouldn't go out of my way, but if I see it go by on a streaming service. Anyways, we sidetracked.
Again.
This is when Amy, I have her in as Blondie. I actually had to look up her names. All these girls look the same. This is where she gets the squirts.
I'm sorry. I'm really sick.
And she's over in the corner, and the sound effects are great. Like, I'm never not going to laugh at bathroom humor, is what my mom would have called it. That's funny.
Fart jokes.
It's always funny to me. Oh, when she took me to see Dumb and Dumber in theaters, I was cracking up when he's on the toilet.
The chocolate scene.
Her glare at me. I looked at her. She's just glaring.
And then the car at the end. That was it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Right there. Dumb and Dumber on VHS. I got it on VHS. Yeah, I love that movie.
But bathroom humor, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was kind of okay, I can take a breath now. I just saw a guy get hacked up. I'm laughing at her squatting in the corner.
Well, and they do that throughout the whole movie too, and I think it's to alleviate the audience from some of that shock.
And it's a good idea.
Oh yeah, you can't just sit there and shove, horror after horror down something. To borrow a phrase from someone who I can't remember their name, but I heard it on a YouTube channel, a good horror movie should be kind of like sex. You don't want to just have an orgasm outright. You want to build up to it, and I think that's what those horror scenes are. What they were saying is pretty much the horror scenes. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. Is that the shock and awe, that stuff. You want to pepper it out. You want to spray it. You don't want to just blow your load and be done.
Are we talking about Orgasmo?
We could.
Because he wanted to make a movie that people would sit through to the end even after they'd blown the load. Because he was a director of adult films.
Yeah.
That would be... that clarity afterwards.
Have you seen Orgasmo?
No, but that just...
hilarious.
I think about it and I'm like...
The South Park guys did it. Yeah.
Chota boy.
That's right.
Not
I'm
your
Chota boy.
man.
Okay, we're totally sidetracked.
Back to the bathroom humor.
Yeah, back to the bathroom humor. She got the squirts in the corner, and the tribe was laughing at her.
Dicks.
So and then Alejandro comes clean.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was a PR stunt to Justine. So he explains it to her like, this is the real world. This is what we have to do to get our name out there. That we can be a big organization now.
Yeah. And I think they're on that
and
point.
she's pissed. Everyone's pissed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems. Nobody likes him now.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha tries escaping, blow darted, knocked out, falls down.
Yep.
And then the kids are dangling snakes on the girls who are sleeping.
Yeah.
The kids thought this would be funny. They came to Eli Roth, and they're like, "Hey, we think it'd be funny if in the cage if we had snakes with them." And so these kids think, let's throw some snakes in there. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
And these are actual natives of where
Peru.
they hired,
or wherever.
And Eli loved the idea, so he decided to have the kids dangle the snakes on their faces. And when they went to do it, apparently the kids got really into it and were having fun. So these kids are just dangling snakes. It's just wild, the different kind of cultural thing.
Yeah.
These kids have no problem picking up a snake and dangling it.
By the tail, which, I mean, if you're going to put... Yeah, because they're by the tail and sit there and...
I assume they were docile snakes or boas or something like that.
Yeah, but...
I didn't notice. They're supposed to be vipers.
Yeah, no, I don't think they were vipers, but no. I just find that hilarious too because over here in U.S., how I was taught, when you pick up a snake, you never pick it up by the tail, especially not first, because that's how you get your ass bit. They can whip around and...
Yeah, you grab them on the back of the head.
Yeah, that's your best bet, because if they constrict around you, oh well.
It's your hand, whatever.
Yeah.
So then they take Justine, Samantha, and Amy. I don't remember who Samantha is. I don't remember who Amy is, except that she had the squirts.
Samantha was the redhead with the tattoos.
With the tattoo. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because Justine, I remember.
One half of the lesbian couple, the couple that was in Lesbian with each other.
I don't recall anything about lesbians. I'm all for it.
It was heavily implied.
Yeah,
where was it, man?
Hey. They kissed.
How did I miss? What?
They were totally dating. They were girlfriends.
Yeah.
I believe you. Why did I miss that?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's about cannibals. It's not like the main...
That's true.
It's because it wasn't Linnea Quigley.
That's true. I'm still waiting on that call, Linnea. So, this is the scene where the chief is going from one person to one person to one person, putting that thing, the bone, up their vaginas.
Honestly,
the
claw.
Now, do you know why she was doing this?
Checking
female
to see if they were
circumcision.
virgins.
She was checking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the two lesbians were apparently not virgins, which means either A, they experimented, or and decided they didn't like the D, or B, they at some point in time used an artificial D.
Yeah, using those strap-ons. You do what you got to do, I guess.
Hey, different strokes for different folks. I don't judge.
So when I watched this, I wasn't sure if this is because I knew there's a female circumcision scene.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if this was it, but then as I was reading things after I watched it, I was like, okay, so she was checking to see if she was mature
I totally
or not.
thought just now that it was the circumcision as well.
No,
That comes later.
That comes later.
Okay.
So yeah,
I don't think she cleaned it after scooping out Jonah's eyeballs either.
No.
But this is why they did not kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was not of maturity at the time, is according to their trial.
So she was innocent in their eyes.
I guess.
They were probably going to try to induct her into her tribe.
Right, but then she was going to... We'll get to that scene.
Well.
Garrett's on it tonight. So the one still in the cage, distract a guard. So one of the girls can make a run for it.
Well, it starts
raining.
This
is the one who has tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all raining, so the majority goes inside except for the guards. And then that's when...
and this is where they all look the same because it's raining. All their hair is matted down and everything, yeah.
Lars straight up, takes Jonah,
I didn't know who
Alejandro's
ran.
phone.
I had to find out in the next scene when he said, "Oh, Samantha ran." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, redhead tattoo chick."
Right. And that's when I figured it out.
And she makes it all the way to the boat, gets in the boat, and then cut to black.
Right. So why didn't she just shove off?
I have no idea. Maybe she did. Maybe she did. This is one scene where the imagination has to fill in the blanks.
I like it because I've seen her shoving off. They're chasing her down with boats. They get her. They come back. Then they kill her.
And
all right.
Yeah.
I like it. I let my mind do that.
And I love the fact that Lars literally just takes Alejandro's phone and is like, shut up, and sets the ringtone off or whatever and throws it into the bushes to distract the tribe.
Yeah.
Because, they're not going to know what.
Phone's not going to do anything out there for them. There's no signal, yeah.
I mean, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, the thing they needed was the GPS.
Mm-hmm.
So Daniel has been harping on the GPS. We haven't mentioned the GPS at all. Because they're going to eventually we'll get to the GPS later. But he's been harping on that. And where is it? It's in the plane or whatever. Yeah. Somebody had it. So I wanted to bring that up because that's going to come up later. Justine is returned to the cage. She's in her underwear. And she's covered in decorative paint.
Mm-hmm. What did they do to you? I don't know.
She was apparently knocked out the whole time.
They used that little powder.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which is...
she had, red markings, not, fully red like the tribe.
Which I think is an actual thing. I think it's called, devil's breath or something like that, where there's a powder in those countries where you can literally blow it in someone's face and it just...
And I know they have the darts that do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's instant.
Yeah.
Kind of how they're making it out to this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same thing. Again, Hollywood special effects, like with the chloroform, it's not just... No,
right, yeah.
It takes a good solid, I want to say 5 minutes, allegedly. I don't know, I've never used chloroform to knock someone out.
Oh.
Just David.
It's coming out. Oh, yeah, that's our normal Saturday night.
David.
So the kids bring them food,
mm-hmm.
and Justine plays her little necklace flute that her mom made her or something like that for the little kid. So she's building a connection with this kid.
Uh-huh.
And one girl is a vegan. Now, who was this? Was this Amy?
That was Amy.
The one who had the squirts.
Yes.
And they haven't eaten for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the course of this movie takes place between 2 and 3 days. So
that's a shitty.
We're probably on the second day.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with not eating.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone days before without eating.
Well, they were all not going to eat, but Alejandro's immediately just...
Yeah, he's chowing down.
Yeah, they're like, are you seriously going to eat that? And he's like, you got to keep your strength up, which, for an a-hole, just flat out asshole, he does have some solid points on that. Like, you do got to keep your strength up to, rescue. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I guess.
But if it's human,
but we don't know that. We don't know if it's human.
He said it's pork scraps, I think.
And I kind of wonder if he knew what it was, and he was like, screw it. It's pork scraps.
Yeah. He didn't give a shit.
So she's vegan. She's like, oh, but I'm vegan. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And she just can't, she's hungry. So she starts eating, and she gets to the bottom. This is an awesome scene. She gets to the bottom. Do you remember what she does here, Tanya?
No, I don't remember, actually.
She sees congealed blood. She looks around, and she sees the kids playing with the skin with tattoos. Because they saved the tattoo skins.
Yeah. They also see, she also sees, markings on from the tattoos.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Not a word out of her mouth. Smashes the bowl, cuts her throat. awesome.
I forgot about
I like that she didn't say anything. It was just she had a break, realized what it was. I'm dead.
And I think
I'm done.
somewhere between.
I really like that scene. That was a really good, really good.
And
job.
maybe it's like a stand on like you would die for your beliefs, right? Because she is a vegan, and then she realizes the horrors that she's just committed.
She ate her friend.
Inadvertently.
Ate her lover.
Yeah.
Oh, that was her girlfriend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes
that's
it
the
even
person
better.
she was in Lesbian
Oh, that's
with.
fantastic.
So
In Lesbian.
the one time she breaks her belief to eat, and it's what she loves, which is like, okay, that's it.
That's
wrap.
amazing.
Done.
Right? That makes the scene even better for me. All right. So my numbers on this movie are going to jump up because of that now that has been explained.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's good. That's
I
good.
heat myself out of this situation.
Uh,
I mean, I would too, lady.
I don't know. It just really hits. There's no words. It's not like, oh my gosh, what have I done? You know? Nope.
and I think at that point in the movie is where like the hopelessness sets in a little more.
Yeah.
She flat out like.
This is a big scene. I really like it.
She realizes something before the others do, and instead of sharing it, no, she just.
Or the others realized it and knew it, and it's survival.
Yeah,
We gotta survive, kind of thing.
Human psyche is crazy like
But
that.
just her being the lover of her, maybe that's what knocked her over the edge, and vegan and everything. And she was the one who she didn't have her pills. They took her pills because she had anxiety and depression and that sort of stuff. So maybe that was playing into it. And
she just snapped.
I think most of it is okay. There's hope that this woman ran away, but then when she saw, she was like, "No, there's no hope."
That's true. Yeah, she didn't get away. Oh, wow, that's a cool scene. I really like that scene.
Yeah. Eli Roth, man.
And then, so Spy Kids guy had that bag of weed in his boot.
Next day, and then he's like, they're gonna cook her. I'm gonna give him a little surprise. Him and Lars.
And they start shoving it down the girl's throat.
Kudos to them because
They're like using a stick to like jab it down her throat.
So I think the audience needed that comedic relief, and it was like one of the worst scenes if you think about it. But like, the audience had been sitting through I don't know how long, like what 30 minutes of brutality at this point, and they were like, you get the sense of hopelessness, and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't a good movie. And then they add that, and it was like, it changed everything.
And all the tribe members being high and everything.
Honestly, that's the other thing too.
And the guard passing out, just falling off this post.
That's one thing that this movie does really good is it keeps dangling those little moments of like hope that they're gonna make it. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
dang man,
I want to say it
I
was
like bouncing off of you because I see these things and I'm like, oh yeah, he's right. Okay, cool.
and I think at this point, after they did that, that's when they, hear or see something, they turn around and there's Alejandro just... Are you whacking it?
The sound effect for it.
They had to add the sound. And
When
in
your
reality,
body
I
is
don't
going
even think
through
it
stress, you
would.
have to relieve the stress somehow.
He needs to relieve the stress, man. What do you do? You're in a cannibal tribe, in a cage,
can't do it.
surrounded by people. What do you? It's only been like a day you've been here.
Well, you
Come on,
can't.
guy.
Yeah, because you can't do the Sudoku there.
Like work out or something. Relax.
I want him, maybe grab around the cage. It's bamboo, so it's
Yeah, do some
barely
pull-ups.
just like. I don't think they're gonna. I think the guy's gonna sit there and maybe just sit there like, oh, he's just exercising. He's, or I don't know, but yeah, and then that's the point when Lars gets fucking pissed off and
Daniel.
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 I've been calling
He's
him
the
Lars.
redheaded beard.
I've been calling him Lars. My bad, Daniel.
Lars was he died in the plane crash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My
he
bad.
was the money guy.
Yeah. So Daniel starts choking him, and then freaking Alejandro really is just like.
And the
keeps
eye
going.
contact
Yeah,
too.
he keeps doing the.
Eye contact, and he's like pushing his neck into his hands more.
So I thought maybe it was like a little geared towards like, okay, this man knows he's gonna die, and he's like, well, would I rather go out being in fear or having a little bit of pleasure in my final days?
Sure.
Like he knew he was going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, him acting like a survivor the entire time, but on top of that, I'm sorry, but if I'm in that situation, I sure as shit am not jacking off in front of other people. I don't care how much that's going to calm me down. Honestly, doing that in front of other people is probably going to stress me out even more. You got cannibals looking at you like...
You're going to have performance anxiety in front of cannibals?
Yeah, well, you whip out your dingus and, your little schmeckle or whatever, and you sit there and start playing with it, they're going to sit there and look like...
Who would be so quick to whip it out after we saw Spy Kids Man's?
Well, I mean...
and then the guys...
Spy Kid...
Getting eaten up there. The very first guy.
Yeah.
Why would you be quick to whip it out?
It really helps to paint Alejandro as a jackass. Nobody likes this guy. Here's an extra thing.
He's a survivor, but a douchebag.
Here's why you should hate him more, because he's jacking off.
And I think it plays into the pretentious part a little bit.
I jack off anywhere I want.
Well, no, because then you start seeing who he truly is underneath all the pretentiousness.
Right, that's what I mean.
And he's like a very just animalistic type of man that's just...
He'll do anything he wants, and he doesn't care if it affects him.
Yeah,
exactly.
If so long as if he feels it's going to benefit him in the long run.
Right.
Which there's a scene coming up here that'll...
And he had no empathy for anything going on around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that
he even said...
just showed that everybody is his little pawn in the situation.
Oh, it's a good thing they killed Jonah first, because they can feast for days off of his fat ass, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very...
What
is it? Sociopathic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or antisocial.
Like school counselor said I was a sociopath, but I don't care.
No empathy, nothing
I don't care about anything. Yeah. I think the correct term is antisocial personality disorder.
It is. Because you lack the empathy.
He has no empathy.
Yeah, he had none.
None of that.
No empathy or
So they start trying to escape or something. He's not going. And he darts Spy Kids guy.
Yeah, because at this point, while Daniel's choking Alejandro, that's when spears come through and they force him to separate.
Right.
And so they go in and they take, Amy's body and they cook it up and then they eat it and they all get the munchies and
Yeah, because they need the munchies for the scene coming up. Yeah,
they get the munchies and once they get high and they're all just and distracted. And that's when they all take turns escaping. And the last guy to go through is Daryl, Spy Kids guy, and as he's about to go out,
There was a dart stuck in the bamboo that was shot at them that missed.
Yeah. So
Alejandro
grabs it and then stabs him. It's like, I'm not gonna,
He doesn't want to stay alone. He needs someone else to be able to push in, cook this guy first.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting the construction workers to come in 3 days.
Yeah.
About the time it would take for them to tear down the forest to get to this tribe.
Yeah.
So in his head, he's like, I got 3 days of people.
He has to extend it. Exactly.
Yeah, he's just gotta, he's trying to be logical, but he's being an a-hole at the same time.
Right.
Which, I get the logic, but at the same time, you don't have to be
He's
an
only
asshole.
caring about himself.
Yeah.
Self-preservation.
Yes. And then that's when Daniel, flips his shit and he's like, I'm not fucking care. And it's like, come on, let's go. And, Justin's like, come on, let's go. And so, yeah, they go.
And then, so he knocks out the Spy Kids guy.
Yeah.
And the Spy Kid guy wakes up.
To the two.
Two tribe members are looking over him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay. And he starts doing the hand stuff, like the missing thumb thing. And that. Then the missing thumb.
Thank God. They're still high.
Yeah.
They're still high.
Oh no, they have the munchies.
Yeah, and then they grab his hands there and nip it out. I was like, they got the munchies. They got the munchies.
He goes taking off.
And I feel like there was no other way to kill him. Because if you would have killed him brutally like the other people, or like the girl who killed herself.
That's pretty damn brutal.
Well, but it's a funny way. Because then you start, you see the little kid running off with his leg and everything. And it's funny. Because
the tribe swarms him.
He was the comedic relief. Yeah. And if you kill off the comedic relief, you need a really big, bang.
Yeah,
way to kill them to make that lasting impression for the rest of the movie.
I think that the ending shot of it is the kid running away with a leg.
Yeah.
So I think that's the comedic. Okay.
Yeah.
Comedy guy died. This is how we're sending him off. Little kid running away with a leg.
That one was.
It's good. It's not a bad. Yeah.
It's an iconic scene.
Yeah.
It's great. It is. It's terrible how he died, but it's at least I mean, even after the film's done, it's just like, they had the munchies.
Nobody hated the movie. Because I know when I watch horror movies and they kill the comedic relief or something, I'm like, I hate that.
Yeah.
If they leave them or if they kill them in a funny way, it's you can enjoy it, at least.
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't, it was fun. With the munchies thing and the leg and all that. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Justine and Daniel make their getaway. And then Justine gets swept away by the river. And legitimately...
She just hopped into the water.
She legitimately got swept away by the river.
Oh.
The crew realized, okay, she's actually yelling for help. We need to actually save her. And they kept some of that footage in the movie.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those
So they had to actually jump in and save her.
Which, I mean, yeah, no, that stuff is... Well, yeah, you can't just... It's an Amazonian river.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
And the way she
where's the
really
safety
just
rope?
hopped right into it. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but you weren't paying me to do that.
Maybe she got a little too into the role there.
I don't know, though. Like, you got a cannibal
She
thing
wanted
there.
to impress Eli.
You'd be better off just
too.
saying, peace out, and float down the river. You might be better off there.
Deuces.
Yeah, you would be.
Daniel saves her, and then they roll back to the plane crash, and they find all the bodies on the spikes, and this is an homage to the spikes in the old
Yeah, because
Italian
there's a lot
cannibals.
of those.
Yeah.
On that note, I think our last and final break.
Sounds good. And we're back. With the spikes, they go through the spikes, Kara's body, and they find the
They
GPS.
go through different phones. Well, the GPS was dead. They were going through the different bodies to try and find phones.
Right.
They found Kara's phone, and then after they get it...
Yep. You get taken out by the tribe. Justine wakes up, and she is tied down. So but not in the cage. She's got her hands tied. Her legs, each leg is tied and kind of spread, I guess.
Yeah. For the act of female circumcision.
Yeah.
Right. Daniel is tied to a post, and the guy's breaking his limbs.
Yeah.
Now this is
chieftain execution.
I don't know if you've noticed, but this is foreshadowing. From when they rolled up into the tribe, when they started waking up after being dazed the first time, he saw the body on the post that had broken limbs and things like that. So I don't know if they were going for that. It's
There
subtle.
was a fair amount of foreshadowing in this film that, again, I dig foreshadowing.
And we got another foreshadowing right here, because the guy's rubbing stuff all over him. Green stuff.
Which was a form of, what was that called? The old-timey torture of I want to say it starts with a C. I think the Romans used to do it, where they fed them a bunch of milk and honey and then held them out and smeared milk and honey all over their bodies and held them out. And like a body of water.
I've heard of this being done. I've seen it in other movies with ants and fire ants and that sort of thing. And here's where the ants come into play, where the teacher was talking about
No, I
the
think
ants.
they were bullet ants.
And yeah, there's a reason they're called bullet ants.
They
It's
are-
like being shot.
Yeah,
Their bite.
No, I think their pain level is comparison to the equivalent of getting shot.
Yeah.
Well, and in some tribes, they actually put their hands in those gloves with the ants as a passage of becoming a man.
Why?
Stupid.
That's just that's just their culture. The men will put their hand in special gloves filled with those ants, and then they have to wear them for a certain amount of time
to prove
to become a man.
Wow.
At
And just
least-
leave.
And that's real. That's not even the movie or like medieval torture methods. That's
I'm gonna
happening
live on my
now.
own. Like, you know what, guys? I've seen enough
thanks.
survival shows. Les Stroud has taught me how to live on my own out in the wilderness. I'm good.
But cultures, I mean, what seems barbaric to us is probably like common.
It's
knowledge.
just a Tuesday to them.
Yeah,
That's
just
true.
another Tuesday.
If you grow up with it, then it's normal.
That's why I like to say normal is relative. What one person's normal is another person's what the fuck.
Justine is painted up. They're painting her up. They're rubbing all the white paint on her and the reds and markings and things like that. And out comes the chief with her finger thing.
Yeah.
And she's kind of rubbing the inner thigh.
Captain Sparrow Simpson.
Justine knows what's happening here. And she's screaming like, please don't do this. Don't do this, please.
Foreshadowing again at the start of my daddy's in the UN.
And a guy runs in with a construction hat. Well, with a head with a construction hat on it.
And that's when Alejandro realizes that my plan was stupid.
Yeah,
He
he
would
went.
look on horror on his face at that point. He's like, "Fuck!"
And that was like a cherry on the top moment.
And it's like,
The tribe takes off. So this distracts the chief. Everyone goes running off because they're going to war with the militia right now that are protecting the construction guys. And okay, so I know what you're talking about when she looks at him, Alejandro.
yeah,
Kind of thing. Okay, so the little kid that Justine's been doing the flute necklace with,
yeah.
he cuts her. He cut or she. I'm not sure.
They
The kid
cuts
cuts the hands free, and she
Yeah.
knocks out the lady who was rubbing stuff on her
Oh yeah, because she goes
and
in
pulls
with
out
that
her
thing
nose bone,
to the little, but she quickly is just like,
and she grabs Daniel's phone off his body on the thing, and he's saying, "Hey, kill me, please kill me."
yeah,
And she can't do it, so this little kid who just set her free blows the stuff in his face and slices his throat.
Which is like the most
He had the most
act of mercy you've seen. Because,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
he
was
set her
human.
free, but
Yeah.
like that guy.
most humane way of any of them to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She leaves Alejandro. Awesome. Loved it. I love that.
He totally deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's yelling after her. People notice a kid says something to the other kid, like, "Oh, I'm assuming it's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that sort of thing." And then an adult's with her,
yeah,
and she's running, and there's a jaguar, and we totally skipped the beginning line
oh yeah,
where they see the jaguar
the
off the
black
boat.
jaguars.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they would see him as a
It's something to do with
protectors
sinners to hell or something like that.
yeah. They're they said it was a good omen, or Alejandro said it was a good omen. But yeah, like it's a very spiritual symbol for the tribes there.
Right. And there was a jaguar there, and she crosses the water.
Yeah. And the
two
kid's
people-
getting ready to be like, ha ha ha.
Uh-huh.
But the older guy's like, wait.
Now, why?
Because
She had the protection of the jaguar or something, or
I think so.
because the jaguar doesn't move, and she crosses right in front of it.
It growls at her, acts like, well, my cat to most people. When
Right.
She sees her.
It's just a big kitty.
Yeah. And she just crosses through, makes eye contact, and then I don't think you see the kid. They just kind of get
Yeah,
up
and that's it. That's it for them, because she rolls up on the militia. The war happening between the tribe and the militia. They're the protectors of the construction company.
Yeah.
And she pulls out the phone because they're pointing guns at her because she's painted like a tribe member.
Yeah. I'm American. I'm American.
And she has her phone, camera,
Yeah.
phono or whatever she's saying.
Yeah. Remember me, asshole? Because it's the guy that pulled her
Yeah.
down and got her into execution position.
And he figures it out.
Yeah.
Looks at the camera, it's not working, but he gets who she is. Okay, she's a United Nation person, daughter. I can't kill her. And they take her. And she's saved. And she leaves Alejandro hanging. Is there anyone else? No, there's no one else.
Yeah, because Alejandro's sitting there calling to her like after they, mercy kill Daniel, and she's just like, "Fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's no one else. She leaves him hanging. And then we go to New York, and she's being interviewed by, I assume, State Department people or investigations because all these kids got killed.
Yeah.
There's no bodies, and she says they died in the plane crash. The natives saved her, and she paints them as a good tribe, like a peaceful tribe. There wasn't any issue. So, why did she do that?
I think it goes off of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And it was mostly, I think, maybe the kid saving her.
That one act of kindness. Plus, it also, yeah.
I mean, she also left Alejandro to die. So if
Cover
they go
her
back
ass.
and find him, either still alive or just freshly dead, there was another guy. Why didn't you tell us? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, between that, or it could also be, she was trying to become an activist, and at this point it was a PR stunt, just like she gave Alejandro crap for. She's using this to launch her career as a PR activist. I don't know. This is what probably makes it such a great film is it opens like that part right there opens up to discussion. I mean, yes, it's definitely an homage to Cannibal Ferox, aka Make Them Die Slowly, where that scene mirrors the ending. Spoiler of Cannibal Ferox, where the lady also says, "No, I had no ill will for the. I felt safe, like because that was I want to say almost." Definite tribute to that film because something similar happens at the end of that one.
He was there's like 5 films he was doing homages to.
Oh yeah, in fact, I'll get to that in just a moment.
Well, so another idea maybe is that imagine how stupid people would paint her to be if she went out there to save these people and then went back and they're cannibals, they're evil, they're this and that. Instead, she allows herself to be right.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, the ego again, with all the pretentiousness going on in the film, she wants to come out on top. Like, she's the savior of these people.
Sure. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. No, yeah. And then she has a nightmare of her killing. I don't know if this was
Hey, Justine, I
necessary.
made it.
Yeah, the teeth thing biting his neck or whatever in her dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was weird to me.
Again, probably a tribute to one of those films.
Yeah, could be.
Because I own and have seen both Cannibal Ferox and Cannibal Holocaust.
Or it could be again. I get too deep into what I think, but these two battling people with the egos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she left him to die.
Yeah.
She is
so in her head,
metaphorically
she killed him.
consuming his ego into herself so that
she's becoming the new
Alejandro.
Yeah, that could
Maybe.
be. And that's why she wanted to paint the tribe as good, so it looked like she did something good still.
Yeah, and so she used them. It started out they were using her as the PR stunt, whatever, and now she's using them.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. Again, I love that this film has opened up such a good dialogue of discussion for like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose it.
Yeah. That's why it's such a good film, yeah.
But it closes with the protesters with shirts that look like Alejandro.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, probably is her...
Was it the same protesting group? Like people who'd stayed in New York and they're just, hey, remember Alejandro, and they have a...
Either that, because it was also done in the style of that Che Guevara or whatever.
Right, and I actually had a question. So in their first... Okay, the movie's over now. That's where it is. There's a...
Or is it?
Or is it? Right, we're going to get to that. There's a scene where she goes to the first protest meeting, and on the back of the wall, there is a huge poster of what looks like a revolutionary. Mm-hmm. And it's not Che Guevara. I was looking up pictures of Che Guevara, and it didn't match anything. Mm-hmm. It's similar, the green kind of army fatigues, that sort of thing. Did you know who it was?
No.
Okay.
I think I missed that entirely.
It could have been Eli Roth, for all I know. Who knows?
Yeah, I think something.
Some picture of a producer or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was someone significant in history who they used.
Yeah.
That was all. I forgot to put it in there when we went through there. But how does the movie officially end? Because we hit the credits and there's a scene.
Yeah, so it ends, and then it goes to credits, and with the whole close-up of the shirts that may or may not be Alejandro, could be from Justine's perspective, or they could be, using that as a, to try and bolster more people in the activist group. But anyways, so it's going through, and then Justine gets a call from Alejandro's sister. What was her name again? Lucia?
I don't have it.
I want to say, I think it was something like that. But then she said that she wants to talk to Justine because she saw a picture on satellite image of what looks like Alejandro, and this is something I noticed on the second viewing of this, is or third viewing, this most recent viewing, is yes, it does show a picture of Alejandro standing, of a person that looks like Alejandro standing in the middle of a clearing looking up, but he's wearing garb as well as looks to be painted up like the head warrior dude from before.
Yeah.
So.
Did he assimilate and become the next? Because that guy dies in that the war between the tribe and the military.
Yeah.
He says something to Justine, and that's what I wanted to know, what was being said in subtitles.
I tried to find something, but I couldn't.
Yeah, so...
But yeah, so part of me is wondering, like, hey, did they assimilate, and then was that where, because it sets it up, that little stinger for a potential sequel, and there was a sequel planned called Beyond the Green Inferno, where Eli Roth said he wanted to make it darker and more, just more than of what the Green Inferno originally was, but it's been over a decade. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
And he's more focused on doing, his sequel to Thanksgiving. And a lot of the crew have moved on to other things. I mean, the surviving crew, and then some other stuff. So honestly, personally, I would love to see a sequel, just a
closure.
Yeah, that question, like that bit, like I want to know, like, because part of me is like, okay, did Alejandro go native, so to speak, or
right,
and then Justine's forced to cover tracks.
He was fluent in Spanish,
so
he, if their language was mixed with Spanish.
Yeah.
He'd be able to at least get by.
Yeah, and how did he weasel his way out of it?
Learn.
Because he was facing death.
Right.
Yeah, because you could, just from that look, it did not look like he had, managed to escape. It looked like he had somehow, wormed his way into becoming a member of that tribe.
And as you mentioned, they say he's very charismatic. So, like, what did he tell these people? What did he do to get that title, even?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
A lot of it could have been foreshadowing towards that sequel that we may not get, but I still, to this day, I mean, because especially nowadays, it's not unheard of to have sequels come by, so far. I mean, dude, we're getting a Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
Same. But, I mean, now might be a perfect time, like, after he...
We'll see.
Yeah.
Sequels, man.
Now might
especially after 30 years.
True.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But, well, I mean, right now might be a perfect time for a sequel to Beyond the Green Inferno. Justine's living her, lavish life of, her activist life, and then somehow, some way gets kidnapped by, Alejandro's sister because she wants those answers. She has proof, and then they go...
Forces her to go down to the Amazon to find him, kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
See, I mean...
See that?
Or she, catches up with her, and, so now Justine has to go down to the Amazon to, back up her claims, or, should do some activist thing.
She has to act like she doesn't know anything, in the whole way she's trying to sabotage it, right?
Yeah, and that, but little does she know, Alejandro's sister is right there and trying to, there's a lot of different ways they could do this. I mean, now, honestly, enough time has passed, I think, that they could pull it off perfectly. The question is, though, is if Lorenza, Izzo, and
I was gonna say,
Eli Roth are on good terms or not. Which, I mean, yeah, it happens. They could still be on good terms. It just could have been a number of reasons.
I mean, and work is work.
Yeah.
Like, if they're making money, it's like, all right, let's set aside our differences, make a good movie, and then we're gone.
Yeah, just at least
but
wrap
with
this
the
up.
age gap, the 10 years, how would they explain that in a movie, in a sequel to that movie? Because you get the young college people, and now they're almost middle-aged at this point. Like,
it's just Justine. It's only Justine now.
Yeah, Justine, Alejandro, and his sister.
And they were all pretty young. They're probably in their upper 20s when they filmed this, maybe 30.
And now, like I said, that's where it'd probably be good because enough time has passed where, Justine is, she has made a career off of this for her activism.
The sister finally gets all her funds to get. It took her 10 years to get a crew that could kidnap her and money and all that to get her down there.
Because revenge, I mean, has obsessed with it long enough that, I mean, like, they've used that in other films, like in one of the Jeepers Creepers films. The Justin Long's sister, made an appearance, so, like, they could use that. And then Alejandro, it might even play up even more on that note, because he's spent that much time with them. How far native has he gone, so to speak?
Yeah, how far gone is he?
They can cover his age with makeup.
True, that is true.
Especially, again, because from the looks of it, like, he was wearing the black paint and everything, and
Well,
okay.
Let me hit you with some trivia. So they're making this movie in the Amazon, and they got spikes with dead bodies on them and stuff. Christian missionaries were rolling down the river towards this tribe, and they were singing religious songs on the boat as they arrived at the village, and they weren't aware of this movie being made. So they roll up, and they see these gory props, bodies on spikes, like impale and that sort of thing. And apparently all they did was just sing louder, and they roll up anyways. So, hey, good for them for sticking to their beliefs.
Huevos, but I actually went to school with a guy who went on a mission to, I want to say Peru, and got stabbed.
Huh.
Well, and that kind of plays into the movie a little bit, actually, is you can't be pushing your beliefs onto people. Because they try to push their beliefs onto these guys destroying the Amazon, or like even towards the people of the tribe. It's kind of painting a picture of Americans always putting their nose in other people's business, especially the tribes, these lost tribes, because it's a very common thing that you hear in the news about the guy that went over, the Christian guy who went overseas and got killed.
Right.
And he thought he was going to somehow change their minds.
There's an island off of India that no one is allowed to go to, and there was a missionary guy who went over there. They killed him on sight.
Yeah.
That's why you're not allowed to go there.
Exactly.
It's the thing of, people are going to do what they're going to do, and people are a paradox.
Yeah, people are weird.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's opinion is wrong except for mine.
Yes.
So we'll just go with that. I like that.
Seems to be a common theme with,
Eli Roth only auditioned actors who agreed to be vaccinated for yellow fever, and to film deep in the Amazon jungle with no bathrooms, surrounded by tarantulas, snakes, poisonous frogs that could kill you on contact. And after filming was completed, the cast and crew were treated for parasites.
I believe it because, again, Amazon...
Being that deep in it.
Yeah,
they went
the water
deep into the Amazon for this.
And being in that pig pen with all that mud and rain.
From what I hear, this is the biggest, or a feature film, and they went the furthest into the Amazon, as opposed to previous, like Cannibal Holocaust, the old Italian ones.
Mm-hmm.
This, even to this day, they went the furthest into the Amazon to find a remote tribe they could work with.
Wouldn't it have been crazy if they went in with expectations to make this movie and then they became the movie they were trying to make?
It could be interesting.
As soon as you started saying that, I was like, oh, I got an idea for a movie.
Speaking of which, one thing I did mention that I forgot to mention that I wrote down was that during the end credits, they actually had a brief history of Italian cannibal
That's
films.
True. Yeah.
At the end, along with
it starts in like 78 to 85.
It goes. His first one was 1972. It was actually done by the guy who did Cannibal Ferox.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember their name. Umberto? I can't remember. But, and then, and they had, like, their nicknames, like Cannibal Ferox, a.k.a. Make Them Die Slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Cannibal Holocaust was, a.k.a. the mother of all cannibal films.
Right.
Because it is the...
Okay, here, fun facts about Cannibal Holocaust. The Green Inferno was the working name for Cannibal Holocaust. That's why he chose this name for this movie.
Yeah, okay, I believe I do remember that. And unfortunately, they were working on a sequel to Cannibal Holocaust.
Why? You nailed it with the first one, guys.
Well, Ruggero Deodato wanted a conclusion as to, because there was something to do with the Cannibal Holocaust where they decided to not film or air the footage that they had recovered. And from what I remember, the sequel was going to eventually touch on those, like the consequences of not airing the film.
Right.
But of course, it never happened. And I believe
this is
with Deodato's passing.
This could be like a 3-hour video, just so you guys know.
Shit.
It's fine. I mean, hopefully people. Okay, go ahead and skip a few things if you need to. The ending
thanks
here
for
is
sticking
really
around
good.
if you do.
Was there? I don't know. Whatever. Where would you guys rank this movie in a 1 to 10? Garrett, we'll start with you.
I would go with a solid 8.5.
Dang. Okay.
Any reasons why it's not a 10?
Well, why? I mean, like,
Why?
okay.
You're putting
one-
this at a 10?
No.
Okay.
But so the scene with the ants, especially nowadays, you can tell that's CGI.
Right. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the CGI. So, and I'm just not a fan of CGI, the practical effects and everything. And I mean, compared to the one film I did rank as a 10, Psycho, like I said, didn't leave as much to the imagination. It didn't have that Psycho charm. Psycho, honestly, I think is going to be the benchmark.
I agree 100%. I don't give 10s,
Yeah.
but Psycho is my highest rating so far.
It is because Psycho's, and so if I'm going to compare a
was
horror
9.6.
film, yeah, well, that's why I'm like, if and we consensus to 9.75 on Psycho,
Something like that.
yeah. But
Go back and check out the Psycho review.
yeah, and that's where, so with Psycho being the benchmark, this is definitely no Psycho. Nothing can top Psycho as far as I've seen so far.
Yeah.
But it's a quality film, and honestly, so far, one of my favorite films by Eli Roth. Eli, please keep making films. Love it.
This one is?
Yeah.
Okay,
This
so
is one of my favorites.
not mine. Tanya?
I would. Oh, it's kind of hard because I don't want to give a 10 because there's some reasons I don't. I feel like I'd go a little further and give it an 8.75.
8 3/4.
Okay.
90% of the reason being that they teased us with a sequel and
yeah.
they never gave it. That made me so
It's a
upset
sequel.
because there were so many things left unanswered in the movie that we've been waiting 10 years for,
Yeah.
Eli.
No, that's a good reason. I like that.
And also, I just, with the CGI and stuff, there was some things that I'm okay with CGI now, but back then, when this first came out, I used to really hate it. I'm like, just stop. Now that I've, like, kind of grown a little, it's really difficult and it's expensive to add super good effects. So,
Well, I mean, when the CGI came out, like when we saw this in theaters, it wasn't bad. But now that you see it on the high definition,
That's
like modern,
true.
it doesn't hold up.
And I also,
Some of it does.
Yeah.
Not all, but yeah.
I mean, there's quality special effects, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that ant scene. Sorry to step on your toes.
I mean, I rate it high though because it was, for its time, one of the first movies I've seen horror related that was a horror movie and it had comedy in it. Those are my two favorite genres mashing together. So,
Agreed.
I mean, I kind of wanted to give it a 10, but then I thought about the sequel thing and I'm like, no. And then the CGI and
But
just
I mean,
some plot holes that were left.
Yeah,
You picked the
questions.
movie. So
I know.
No,
kind of
I
makes sense
get
for you
that.
to give
It's
it
one of
some
those
high.
things,
And
like the working
you
from
can.
10 and then working backwards
Give it
as to
whatever you
why
want.
why you can't give it a 10. That's why I gave Psycho a 10. I started at 10 and I could not think of any reasons to why to not give it a 10.
See, and I could think of several reasons to not give this movie a 10, even though it's one of my favorite movies, horror movies.
And that's
I should
fair.
say.
I mean, I have, we did Shaun of the Dead 2 weeks ago, something like that. It's my favorite movie, but I won't give it a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's issues with,
Yeah.
just production and that sort of thing. It happens. But I just have a nostalgia and it's funny and it hits every note I want to see.
They also killed the comedic relief, and I don't know why that bothered me so much. Like, because it was so funny the way he died, but I just didn't want him to die.
I get that.
He was too
That's-
lovable.
That's why, actually, when they killed Randy off in the Scream franchise, spoiler, Wes Craven was, I think he was getting death threats, but he was getting anti-fan mail that was upset about him killing off Randy.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So, for this movie, I give it a 6.
Okay. Reasons?
The reasons I'm just not into gore.
Okay, gore.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair.
you did.
I'll
yeah.
watch it. I have no problem watching it. It's just it doesn't interest me, and that's good, it was for the story. I get it. They needed it for the story, that sort of thing. So that's why I give it a 6. So,
Yeah, it could be lower.
yeah. And
I mean-
what kept me going was I was interested to see how it ended. What happens to Justine? And that's
those,
why it has a 6.
Yeah, with
that's
those
above
little,
average, by the way. I just want to say.
True,
Well,
that is
that.
above average.
5 is an average.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that. It's especially those little sprinklings of like hope, where it's like, oh my gosh, like the suspense.
Then they snatch it, yeah.
Yeah.
But so then they finally give you that satisfaction.
It's not a bad movie. I'm not calling it a bad movie. I'm just. It's a little above average for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So with general consensus between, I think I would be say 7.5 stars between the three of us. You're 6.
The average?
Yeah.
What were you? 9?
8.75.
8.9.
I know I got really technical. I could have just gone with 9.
Yeah, and I was 8.5. So with your 6, I think that'd be safe to say 7.5, right?
Yeah, I think that's safe.
It's worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you like Eli Roth.
Or if you like the old school cannibal movies. It's a throwback to those.
Yeah, they'll get that love letter.
Like you mentioned earlier, I believe, it may have been off of camera, but it's one of those movies that you should at least watch once.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Does it have rewatch value for some?
I'm not going to watch it again.
No,
I might in the future,
I mean, I watched it again just for the review. Not gonna lie, but it is one of those where it's like, I mean, I would like to say I'm desensitized, but there are still some scenes where they're rough.
The eyeball scene.
Yeah, those, and I mean, it's like Cannibal Holocaust, where if I'm ever I'm going to rewatch that movie because it was a quality film. We should do that one, but if I'm going to watch it again, when I watch it again, I should say I'm going to do the cruelty-free version. I can only stomach those animal scenes once, especially knowing that they are real.
Read that. What does that even mean?
What does it say?
A breakpoint has.
That's it. Apparently there's an error on my computer. But I want to hit the body count real quick. 33.
33?
33.
I feel like
9 are off screen. Why? Because of the tribal at the end. You see the bodies.
Oh.
That's what pumps up the number on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
they do a quick screen.
As Justine's flying out.
Because we're not thinking about that part. We're thinking about the people in the torture on screen and everything.
Yep. Yeah, so that adds to the body count. Yeah.
Here will be a fun thing for the audience if you guys watch. Do you think the off-screen body counts should count towards the film's body count? Comment below.
Well, this says 33, but 9 off screen, so it tells you how many are off screen.
So but that's still just a good thing to get the audience involved in. Like, do you think that should actually count towards the body count of a film, like in general?
No, I don't think so.
Ooh, you should have been here for Psycho when we were talking about it as a slasher, because Norman Bates, going off on a tangent. All right, bear with me. We're almost over. It's over. Go ahead and click off.
At that point, thanks for watching. Stay demented.
Okay.